Sea Fever, an Irish horror sea creature feature, written and directed by Neasa Hardiman. Now this will be my non-spoiler review, plus spoilers, and I will give you a spoiler warning for that. But straight from the top, I really enjoyed this film. Now, I think it's really important to note kind of what film this is. I mean, it's an indie film, it's low budget, but it is good within the realms of that. I'm not going to review it like I would a blockbuster. I'm not going to compare it to blockbusters. I feel that's unfair. But also make no mistake that that's not letting it off the hook. That's not saying that it is only good because of this. It does actually compare to some higher budget films out there. But I really did enjoy this film, and they also did a fantastic job of working within the boundaries of it being an indie horror film or an indie creature feature film. Now, interestingly enough, this features Dougray Scott, a chap that has not really been doing too much for a really long time. In fact, he has been wallowing in Batwoman for some time, but he was played to his absolute strengths in this. It shows him to actually be a really good actor. We had Connie Nielsen and Hermione Caulfield. Now, Hermione Caulfield is the centerpiece to this film. She plays Siobhan, who is a marine biologist, or at least a student, who is sent on a week's visit on a fishing trawler in Ireland. And basically, she suffers with social anxiety. She doesn't want to socialise with many people. And that's a theme for this film. And I do feel that's interesting because obviously, this was written, it was produced, and it was filmed long before the current circumstances that we're in. I'm recording this review in the global pandemic of coronavirus. And interestingly enough, the themes of this film kind of tie into that in some way. And that's not just reading into it. Obviously, it does tie into it just coincidentally. But anyway, she plays Siobhan, who goes to this fishing trawler to do some biology work, to pass her course, and essentially something happens. They come into contact with something, or do they? Potentially, who knows? And that's the centerpiece to this film. We don't know whether they are, whether they've got sea fever or not, which is obviously the namesake to this film, or whether they do actually come into contact with something. Now, just to kind of get some specifics out the way with technicalities, like I always do with my reviews, you know I love to focus on technicalities. I really liked this film. As I've said, I genuinely did like it. It appears, though, in parts, to have been almost shot at 60 frames a second. It had a very fluid, almost quick frame rate to it, just in one or two parts. But I will say it's probably been shot at 25 frames a second, which is what we have in the UK. I know you guys in the States have 24 or 23.94 frames a second. But we have 25, and it may have just been where it was converted to HD or in the rendering process, somewhere along the line. But there was a weird, one or two moments had a very strange, jarring frame rate, and that's just, again, a technical aspect. But overall, the lighting was fantastic. There are some scenes which are underwater, and they play to the strength. So the creature which they encounter, which may or may not be a creature, again, it's non-spoilers, has this bioluminescence, this pulsating glow, and I really liked that. The way it just beamed off the characters' faces, very nice, beautifully done. And the creature effects were beautifully done. Again, this is not a film which you just look at and go, oh, it's just super low budget, to hell with it, the creature effects suck. They were really nicely done. Some of it looks to have been practical. Some of it is obviously CG. But overall, I really liked it. And there is a heavy sense of paranoia, fear, desperation in this film. And I will say, it also looks to have been shot, in part, actually on a fishing vessel, for the majority of it. And I could be wrong, but I do think that they shot a lot of it on a fishing trawler, which is fantastic. Really, really, really good. So to go back to the main themes of this story before we get into the spoilers. So obviously, we're introduced to Siobhan, a character who has to work, well, doesn't really like people at all. Again, has this social anxiety about her. And we learn that to overcome the odds, they have to work together. But then, again, to overcome the odds at the tail end of it, because there's some stuff which happens, they have to go their separate ways. So it's very, very interesting, especially when we can compare to what's happening in the world today, how those themes run true, about working in partnership with people. Again, social distancing. There is literally an element of that in this film. I really, really did enjoy it. And yeah. So to go to the overall kind of creature design, and again, technicalities and things like that, I really did enjoy how the supposed creature, whether it's real or not, starts to digest the ship. And again, it's not a spoiler because we don't know whether it is real. It's in the trailer. It's what you're watching now. But I really enjoyed that. What an interesting element. A vessel gets captured by something and it starts to digest it, changing the chemical composition. I enjoyed that. I thought that was a really nice key element. Interesting anyway, something which is unheard of. It's not really been done many, many times before, not in this way anyway. And I also liked how, again, not a spoiler, how the creature is never really shown. I loved that. I absolutely loved that. There's even an air of conspiracy because Dougray Scott, the rapscallion, heads into a zone that he shouldn't have been going into. So do people know about this thing? Do they not? Is it sea fever? Is it not? I really did enjoy that. So this film, I was lucky enough to get a screener. This is showing available for download on the 24th. So 2 days from now on Friday. I genuinely recommend this. We're in a sea, pun intended, of absolute desolation at this point in time with respect to movies. We're not seeing too many of them. Nothing's being released. But there's some fantastic indie films which are on the rise. And I really do feel like you guys should support this. So yeah, go and watch it. I think you'd like it. I myself really love creature features. So I was all about this anyway from the get-go. So check it out. You might really like it and I hope you do. Now anyway, just to cover some more things just before we get into spoilers. It's gory, it's tense, there's paranoia. What more could you want? What more could you want? So let's get into some spoilers now, shall we? Some spoilers. This is your spoiler warning. Captain Spoiler here. Let's go. Yeah, wow. Some guy's eyes exploded, didn't they? Jesus Christ. Yeah, I really liked that. It sounds weird, doesn't it? I really liked the fact that some guy's eyes exploded. Wasn't expecting it. Was not expecting that. Because up until then, I wasn't 100% certain that they were experiencing sea fever. So obviously, the thing about this film is that it's called Sea Fever. They encounter a creature, but there's some elements during this film which indicate that they could all be experiencing sea fever, a lack of sleep, and people go potentially insane. Now, because they come into contact with another vessel, and they are all said to have sea fever as well, we don't know, up until the point of someone's eyes exploding, whether they actually encountered a creature or not. And I really liked that. Again, it's that sense of paranoia. But then obviously some guys, his eyes did explode and bang! You know that they, there was actually a creature there. And it's Lovecraftian in parts. And I really, really liked that. It's a close-knit film. It's super low budget, but damn is it good. And I really liked the foreshadowing as Siobhan and Connie Nielsen's character are looking over, and Connie Nielsen starts to talk about how, a myth and legend of a woman that gave herself to the sea, and that bioluminescence, the phytoplankton, is her hair. And then, of course, we see this massive tentacled beast further down the line. Again, nice foreshadowing. I really enjoyed it. Dougray Scott, my bro, you are wasted on Bitch Mams. Get off, Batwoman. No one wants you on there. We want you in better films, better things. This was a better thing for you to be in. And really, a lot of people portrayed some good characters in this. Everyone was believable. And that's the main thing, right? An indie film is made or broken on the cast. They have to give it 100%. And this cast was good. They were all believable. Whether you appreciated the characters or not is kind of besides the point. they were all believable in the roles that they had. And again, like I say, whether you like or dislike them is besides the point. They were believable. I bought the fact that these people were real. Anyway, guys, highly recommend the film. Go and check it out. Really enjoyed the end with respect to the whole social distancing element. Have to give yourself to the sea to save everyone. Loved it. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this review. If you're new here, do hit subscribe. If you've seen this film, let me know whether you liked it or you disliked it. And please, yeah, go and check it out. I think you'll like it. And come back and let me know if you enjoyed it or not. Anyway, guys, thanks so much. I've been Mr. H. Take care.